Welcome to Guns Gear Network, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in today. I wanted to do this little video. There was a video I did not long ago, and it was a collaboration between me and one of our sponsors, Stanford Outdoor Supply, about the fishing and hunting 127-piece fishing and hunting kit, known as their B.O.S.S supplements, bug out survival supplements. And one of the things that was in the kit, in this fishing and hunting kit, was some tools and things to make, and I'd mentioned this in the video, but I hadn't shown it yet, how to do it, was some tools to make a survival fishing rod. And I'm going to show you today kind of how I make one, and this video is I'm not going to construct it on video because it takes a little time to do all that, and I just wanted to kind of consolidate down everything in this video. But it's pretty self-explanatory, guys, so it should be pretty easy to follow and understand. First thing you're going to do is find a sapling, and it has to be a green sapling. Don't find a piece of deadfall or anything, but make sure it's nice and green. And the reason you want that is so it's nice and flexible. And if you look, this one here is about the size of the width of my thumb at the bottom. This section down here is cut off about 10 or 12 inches above the ground. So this was growing out of the ground as just one straight sapling. And then it had a few little outshoot limbs coming off of it, but not many. And it was nice and green, fresh, had green leaves on it. One of the first things you'll notice, this bottom here is not sharp. It is. I actually did not cut that at a point or anything, and I actually designed it this way, where I actually took I got it started with my knife, and then I kind of went back and forth, kind of broke it off almost. And I'll tell you why in here in a minute. But I'm going to show you the kit, what comes in the kit. One of the things that comes in the kit to make these is little L screws. And if you look here, what I did was there's one here going up and there's one here going down. And what you're going to have to do possibly, guys, is you're going to have to maybe lay this on something hard and kind of tap it, like with the back of your knife or something, just to get it started, and then get them screwed in. It takes a little bit to do that, so just keep that in mind. You're going to have to work at getting these things screwed in, and the best way to do is tap it and get them started. All right, so then it comes with these little screw eyes here, and you're going to put one in. But let me show you something real quick, guys. If you look, because of the nature of the shape of this thing, it's hard to get off on camera. If you look, there's the butt of it. It comes down. Here is the reel portion, and then this right here is kind of smooth. The reason I did that is because I can hold it up here almost like a fly fishing rod, and I can rest this back piece, the longer butt end of the stick, against my arm. And what that does is it keeps you from getting so much fatigue. If I'm just out here holding it like this, or way back here, that thing's putting a lot of pressure on my wrist going this way. This allows me to play the fish easier, gives me more leverage, and so forth. So you want the butt end, don't put it, that's where you can see how far it goes down. So about an arm's length, and it can be a little longer if you wanted to. Back there. It's kind of hard to get all this on camera, guys, and I apologize, just the nature of the shape of it. But you're going to come up above the handle here where you'd hold it, and put in one of the eye screws, and then kind of keeping it in line the best you can, you're going to put another one, and then you're going to put a total of 4 of these. Now the one at the very tip here, I kind of angled at an angle like this. So it comes up from here to here, and it's kind of angled. And what I use, guys, is bank line. This is almost like a fly fishing setup. If you're not familiar with fly fishing uses fly line and then a tippet. And the fly line floats. This may or may not float because it's actually bank line. But the reason they do that is because it's heavier and it casts easier. And then the tippet is actually which is here. It's hard to pick that up in camera, but there it is. And this right here is what you would tie your fishing lure to. And I've gotten my fishing lure hung up over here. Hang on, guys. Let me get it unhung. I'll be right back with you. All right. So everything that you see here is in the kit. What you're going to do with your bank line is come up here and tie an overhand knot. And then I tied a simple fishing uni knot to join the two. And then you're going to have about, 5 or 6 feet of fishing line attached. This comes in the kit to this bobber, and it is split, so you don't have to put it on before you tie up everything. You can do it afterwards, or you can take it off and not use it. Then you're going to come down. If you look, I've got one lead sinker. I've got a swivel. I've got the grub head, jig head, and then I have the grub body. And all that came in the kit. All right. So this way, now I have a makeshift fishing rod that can be used. If you look here, now I can start winding it up, and I can let out more line, either for casting purposes or wearing down the fish. Instead of them trying to use full muscle, now I can use the rod, because the rod is flexible. If you see that bending in the video there, see it flexes. Then I also have line length, so I can let the fish wear itself down. And cane pole's obviously the best if you really want to know the truth, but a lot of people don't have natural cane poles in their area. But something like this, you would. This right here, I think, is actually a maple sapling is what it is. But just a nice flexible green sapling is what you want to use to make this. And but see, now this line goes through that, and I can use this to kind of cast it almost. You can use different casting methods. You can use what I call the flipping method, where you actually hold your grub portion here in your hand, and you actually kind of flip it out in kind of what's called a pendulum swing. And you can do that. You possibly could even do something similar to fly fishing, where you're holding it with your left hand if you're right-handed, and you're holding it with your left hand, and then you're taking the line and pulling it out to get length. And then as you cast, you let the line back down, it'll feed back through the eyes. So there's a bunch of different methods. You have to play with it. But overall, even if you're just using, what I call the sling it method off a bank or something, this right here would work also. But you can practice, casting it maybe near a stump or anything like that where you think there will be some fish at. So anyway, guys, just kind of wanted to bring you this little short video this afternoon about this survival fishing kit again, and how to make the survival fishing rod. Now, you can, if you don't have the kit, you can buy all this stuff at your local hardware store and put it in your bug out bag if you so choose to do that. It's just little I screws and then the little L screws, and then whatever you want as far as your fishing gear. You could actually, instead of using bank line like I did, you could actually just run straight fishing line all the way down to your reel section and do that. The reason I didn't do that is because fishing line gets a lot of memory on certain, when you wrap it that way, unless it's on a spool like on a reel. So I preferred to do it this way. Push come to shove, you could actually, if the hook was big enough, you could actually just use the bank line. Matter of fact, just a couple foot, 2 or 3 foot of your fishing line attached to it is fine. And then, because the fish is going to not see the line because they're looking at the bait and it's on the fishing line. So anyway, guys, just kind of wanted to bring you this. One of the things I will tell you, the reason this right here is not sharp, I mentioned that earlier, and it almost is. It almost looks like a brush. The reason I did that is because if you catch a large enough fish, you're gonna need some leverage, and a lot of times this end, the butt end, even in traditional fishing, will wind up in your hip or your leg or somewhere like that to gain leverage when you're fighting the fish. So if you want to rest that against your hip or your stomach area or your upper leg, this right here wouldn't poke you, and it's actually, it's soft, but it's definitely not, sharp and pokey, like if I went and whittled that down to a point, or I'd cut it with a hatchet, pop, and then it's got a sharp edge. So you want this to be very blunt and kind of soft, and this the one way to do that is to do the back and forth break it method. And like I said, I just trimmed it down enough to get the area where I knew where I wanted it broke. just to get that started, and then, like I said, did the back and forth method to break it off. But that's the reason, because you don't want that sharp, because you want to use that butt end of the rod to gain leverage sometimes. So anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. If you got any questions, post those below. I'm going to post this in the section below. I will have a link to this fishing kit, and they're actually still running their special through end of October, so you still have time to get in on that kit. And I'll also post a I'll also annotate at the end of the video here. If you hadn't seen the review of this, I'll go ahead and annotate that so you can go back and watch the review if you missed it before. But anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. If you like our videos, give us that thumbs up. That's always helpful for us. Let us know we're doing a good job. But I appreciate you tuning in. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll bring you another video shortly. Have a great day, guys.